So nearly 6 months later, we're still searching for answers on our disastrous exit out of Kabul, Afghanistan. The Washington Post now obtaining a bombshell report by the U.S. Army. It found the Taliban's final offensive caught the administration off guard. A top commander telling investigators the U.S. would have been, quote, much better prepared to conduct a more orderly evacuation if policymakers had paid attention to the indicators of what was happening on the ground. I want to bring Congressman Michael Waltz, Republican out of Florida. Sir, good morning to you, and thank you for your time. Back to one of the quote from the Washington Post. Vasily, I believe is his name, Navy Rear Admiral. He went on to say, basically was trying to get the ambassador to see the security threat for what it really was. The embassy needed a position for withdrawal, and the ambassador didn't get it. Well, we all knew it was screwed up. I mean, does this tell us now how?
Well, it's shedding a lot more light on it, Bill, and taking a step back. I mean, here's what we know. We know that the Biden White House wasn't listening to the advice of the Pentagon. The Pentagon advised to leave a small force of special operators and intelligence professionals on the ground. They advised that if you withdrew the Afghan military's logistics support, intelligence support, maintenance support, and air support all at once, that it would likely fail. But then once Biden made those decisions, bipartisan, both sides of the aisle in Congress and the military began demanding to begin the evacuation back in April. The State Department didn't listen, the Biden White House didn't listen, and now we have 13 new Gold Star families on top of Americans and our allies being left behind.
Just one more
question.
Stain
on our credibility around the world.
You're exactly right about that. Listen, thank you for your service. You understand chain of command. And the chain of command says that the commander-in-chief says do it. Eventually, you have to do it. Isn't that where it stops?
Well, look, I think at the end of the day, the military took this, crap sandwich, so to speak, and this flawed judgment in terms of orders, and tried to make the best of it. And they had two conflicting missions. They were trying to conduct an evacuation while also protecting themselves in a war zone. It's kind of like protecting a bank while letting everybody flow through. They were strategic missions that were at opposite ends of each other. They did the best they could. But interestingly, Bill, and you and Dana know this, that these FOIA requests can take years. The Pentagon can drag their feet, redact, but you saw 2,000 pages get released pretty readily, and I think that's a reflection of the frustration felt in the Pentagon with this White House and with the State Department.
Well, that's a very interesting observation. Another topic here, you talk about Afghanistan, talk about Ukraine. Who knows what comes of this with the threat from Putin and Russia? Jackie Heinrich asked that question at the White House yesterday.
We're hearing sort of the same bleak, blunt assessments right now from the Pentagon about Ukraine. Are the generals being listened to differently now, post-Afghanistan, post this report?
The situation on the border of Ukraine with Russian troops building up is not the same as ending a 20-year war where we were spending an enormous amount of not just money, but blood of American service members over the course of decades. That's a different circumstance.
Back to the question, Jackie said, are the generals being listened to differently now than post-Afghanistan? How would you answer that?
Yeah, well, and that you went on to say they're completely unrelated. But don't take it from me. Listen to Putin's own propaganda. Where he is citing Afghanistan as he's speaking to the Ukrainians, saying the Americans will not stand with you, this White House is weak and does not have resolve. Listen to Xi of China's own propaganda as he's pumping what happened in Afghanistan into Taiwan. So don't take it from us, take it from these dictators who are absolutely citing the debacle in Afghanistan as a lack of competence and a lack of compassion in this White House.
Sir, I just want to get you on one more topic here. There has been very little attention paid to these Olympics so far in Beijing. And you look at the television viewership over the first couple of days, they're down 40%, perhaps more. We'll see whether or not that comes back. But Americans aren't paying attention. You are paying attention to the human rights issues in China. What do you think about the American corporate response thus far? You were the one who put out that ad just the other day that got a lot of attention.
Yeah, it's sad and pathetic, Bill, and we are going to continue, Inez Cantor-Freedom and I, to call out the hypocrisy. Both NBC and these companies like Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Airbnb, Intel, that want to preach social justice here at home, but then ignore modern-day slavery that is being used to make their products. But I think the bigger issue in the ad, and what we were bringing home to the American people, is when you see Made in China, put it down. It's not just a human rights issue, it's a jobs issue and it's a national security issue. And when the Chinese Communist Party is threatening to choke off our pharmaceuticals, our rare earth minerals, the basic necessities we need to run our modern economy that they've created a dependency on, there is a much broader strategic issue, and it is resonating with the American people. I just had someone from a diner in North Florida reach out and say they heard someone next to them ask a waitress to turn on the Olympics, and another waitress said, "We don't support genocide in this establishment."
Wow.
That was a diner in North Florida, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
The American people are waking up to it, and I don't trust these corporate boards.
Yeah, didn't P&G call out America for U.S. systemic racism just about a year ago?
Of course, and so did Coca-Cola. But by the way, they source their sugar in Western China, literally being, that is being harvested at the end of a barrel of gun. Nike gets its cotton from Western China, literally at the end of a barrel of a gun. Think of the hypocrisy there, that they want to preach social justice and good governance or ESG here at home, look at their websites, but then total blind eye when it comes to a mass atrocity as defined by two administrations.
Michael Waltz, thank you. The hypocrisy smacks you in the eye. You can't miss it. Thank you, sir, for your time.
We're not going to let them get away with it. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, thank you for your time from the Hill today.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.